Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
Colors on this Tuesday, September 3rd edition of the program. It is good to be back with you on this Tuesday as we have another East Carolina. I guess you can call it Victory Tuesday this far removed from the game. We'll just call it that. We're excited. We'll talk to Maceo Donald here in a few seconds. We'll introduce him to the show, get him on via video. Want to remind folks we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. As always, feel free to drop a comment. Make sure you subscribe on the 94.3 The Game YouTube page. We have gotten those subscription numbers up significantly and want to continue to remind folks to subscribe there. Also follow 943 The Game on Twitter. Now we're live on the Hoist the Colors Twitter accounts. So if you got a comment you want to drop there on X, feel free to do it there. And then Facebook as well. We're live on the 94.3 The Game page. All right, East Carolina beats Norfolk State 42-3. And we're going to talk now to Maceo Donald. And Maceo, now the ECU sideline reporter with the ECU Sports Network, former Pirate receiver and running back. Maceo, how's it going, man?
Man, good. How's everything over there in Greenville?
It's going good. Once again, we had to rush from practice. We had the chance to talk with Hampton Ergel, who you know well, Savone Revel, and we talked also with Big Tay. So three guys you're very familiar with on the ECU football team. So, Maceo, your initial thoughts on East Carolina's 42-3 win over Norfolk State?
Yeah, before we get into that, when did they change Siobhan's name to Savone? When did that happen? Can someone tell me that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think so. I asked Savone after we interviewed him, and I said, "Are people getting your name right now?" He said, "I don't even know, man." He's like, "I don't even know anymore." So I don't even think he knows his name anymore, Maceo.
Yeah, probably, man. But Saturday was a good showing, good outing by the offense and defense. 6 turnovers by the offense and one kind of weird one on special teams. But I was pretty impressed with their offense, man. High-powered, getting a lot of different guys the ball, something we haven't really seen the last few years. And defense, obviously, they were everything we expected. I mean, 3 points probably should have been a shutout. But those guys, man, I think that defense is special.
Maceo, how much for this team? Look, I mean, it's Norfolk State. We talked about it. ECU should crush this team. They did. They probably could have won 70-0 without the mistakes. But like just starting with a win, it hasn't happened as a program for East Carolina since 2016. That's a long time. Now a lot of that is opponent related. Also, you've had some misfortune in the openers. But just starting 1-0, what does that do for the vibes?
I mean, yeah, like you said, we never did it when I was there, and we had a couple close calls. But, I mean, I'm sure that just gets everybody on the same foot and on the same page, just kind of knowing that you guys can go out there and what you guys are working hard this whole summer for kind of pay it off. But that being said, it's still a long season. One win doesn't get you a bowl game. One win doesn't get you a conference championship appearance or, a bowl appearance. So, there's still a long way to go for them. I think they'll have a good test this week at ODU.
No doubt. We'll get into that ODU game here shortly. That was a contest that, surprisingly, they almost probably should have beat South Carolina. So they're going to present a formidable test this Saturday. All right, let's kind of go through, Maceo, a little bit position by position. We'll start kind of with the quarterback and get your thoughts on how they perform. We'll start with Jake Garcia, 3 interceptions, but also 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards. More than ECU threw, both touchdowns and yardage, any time in any game last year. So what did you make of Jake Garcia's performance?
Yeah, I mean, he looked pretty good. He's everything that, we've been hearing. He's a gunslinger. He can kind of spread the ball around. Obviously got to do better with that decision-making, throwing those picks kind of in the red zone area where you maybe could get some points on the board. But I was very impressed by Jake. Got to talk to him after the game. He seemed like a guy that was, pretty focused, excited to play. I don't think he's played since probably his senior year in high school. So he's still got to work through some of those things. And it's just different being on that field again, being the starter and not have to worry about someone coming in behind you and taking your spot. So I think Jake was pretty well this past week. I probably grade him probably a B or something like that, B+.
How encouraging is it, Maceo, when you have a quarterback who – Yeah, he makes a mistake, but then the next drive, he doesn't let it bother him. He just goes down there and marches right down the field. And I thought in the second half, he played his best ball. You know, he even slid some protection around at one point on the touchdown to Anthony Smith, re-IDing the blitzer. So, like, when you see that from a quarterback, from a leadership perspective, not hanging his head, not letting it affect the next play, and then also being able to, you know, make protection changes at the line of scrimmage, those are two big keys, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that just goes to talk about, you know, the receivers also. I mean, if your quarterback kind of has that confidence, he's making changes, making plays, and you guys in turn will, you know, be confident and want to go out there and make plays. You know, they always say the quarterback is kind of the head coach on the field, or in basketball, the point guard is kind of the coach on the court. So I think when you see that confidence and that kind of poise that he played with, and just kind of forgetting about, you know, some of the mistakes, I think that's good for everyone else. And I think Jake, you know, he spread the ball around pretty good too, man. So a lot of those receivers out there, I was very surprised at how they played, and they had a really good game. Not many drops either. But I mean, Holton threw a bunch of picks when we were playing, and you know, it never really faced most of us. You just got to go out there and keep going.
Running back room, I thought Maceo looked solid. I mean, you didn't really have like a standout performance, maybe. I thought Javius Bond perhaps looked the best in his limited touches, but we saw London Montgomery, the Penn State transfer, get a lot of time late in the game. Rajay was Rajay. What did you make of the running backs?
Yeah, I mean, you have multiple, and I don't think we have a number one guy yet. I would say I think they all kind of do a little bit different things here and there. But London, I was very impressed by him. I know he kind of got some garbage minutes, but you could just see some of those natural instincts at the running back position, driving your legs. He can kind of he showed some speed, but also some power. So I was very impressed by London, and obviously Rajay and Javius. You know, they're going to do their thing, kind of that lightning and thunder that they want to play with. Also, Marlon got some touches too, but you just want to see more. I think they probably could have handed the ball off a little bit more. I was kind of surprised we threw it that much. But we'll see as the season goes on.
We're visiting with Maceo Donald, ECU sideline reporter on the ECU Sports Network, former Pirate special teams player and also running back and wide receiver. All right, receiver-wise, Maceo, we talked a lot this preseason. We wanted to see Brock Spalding, and you used to share a position room with him. How good was it to see Brock making some plays and showing some aggression, man, after the catch? He also had a tackle after the pick. I mean, he wants to play some defense, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. We probably don't want to keep doing that too much. Don't want to give those hits, you know. But Brock, you know, he had a great game, was catching the ball. I mean, if there's anything you can say about Brock is that he can catch. And he did show some ability to get some yak yards, you know, after the catch. Also, Anthony was really good, showed that speed and explosiveness. And like we said, I mean, they got the ball around. And it's different, you know, in Donnie Kirk's offense, you were seeing, you know, maybe one or two guys get most of the targets. But this offense, I mean, a bunch. I think it was 6 or 7 different players caught a pass on Saturday. So the numbers might not be that high every week. But the receiver room, man, is looking good.
Anthony Smith, NC State transfer, flashed his run after the catch ability. Macy, I kind of had this notion of him that he was more of a downfield guy, and he can do that. He's more of a speed guy. You know, he was able to make some plays underneath. What does that do for him going forward? Because now teams can't just sit back. If you're a corner, you have to respect the underneath stuff too. But he's got 4.3, 4.4 speed, so I think that should really open up his game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a guy you have to play off with, because if you press him and he beats you, you know, that he's gone. I think a better question is how everything's going to shake out when Chase Sowell gets back, because you saw Brock kind of get those outside receivers plays, and also Anthony Miller get those outside receiver plays, and then the slot, Winston Wright was getting a lot of snaps on Saturday, and also Winston Wright. So I'm curious to see how it's going to shake out when Chase Sowell will get back. And I talked to him a little bit on the sideline Saturday, and I think he's confident he'll probably be back in the next week or 2 weeks. So I think it's good to have a lot of options, but we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, I was out of practice today, and not to give anything away, but I would say he is closer to returning than not. And so we'll see. You know, this was his first day back really doing things. He's still in a red jersey, so we'll see if he's able to play on Saturday, but we'll see on Chase Sowell. But certainly that gives you another option in the passing game. All right, the tight ends, Maceo. Last year we had 2 tight end touchdown receptions all season, both by Shane Calhoun. In the opener, we had 3. Casey Kelly opens the scoring, then Desirio Rouse gets 2. And it was clear all preseason, all offseason, watching the practice, they were going to be heavily utilized, especially in that RPO game in the flats. 2 of those came on those plays. What'd you make of the tight end usage?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different. I mean, it's good those guys are getting involved. I guess you would say a tight end inside receiver guy, so it's good seeing those guys get the ball. Tyler Savage, I think he had a long play too that I think got called back in the game. So they're spreading it out. I've heard a lot of good things about Riles and also Casey. So let's see if we keep them involved, man. I mean, I think we threw it about almost 40 times or maybe a little bit over 40 times on Saturday. So, I mean, that's a lot of throws, and it's likely we might not have that many chances against, ODU or App State in the following weeks. But I think you've got to kind of keep everybody involved and balanced.
No doubt, and I think we're going to see more from the slot guys, Winston Wright and Jari Patterson going forward. So I think if you're ODU, you got a lot to account for offensively or defensively as you prepare for ECU's offense. The offensive line, watching it live, I didn't think they played extremely well, but then I looked at the Pro Football Focus grades and also looked at the tape, Maceo, and a lot of this, I think all the running plays that were stopped behind the line of scrimmage were basically RPOs where they were committing to the run, and maybe you got to look at, the decision-making there. But I thought the O-line did well. Parker Moore got beat on 1 sack, but it graded out well otherwise. And I would just say they did their job against Norfolk State. I don't know, what was your assessment watching it live from the offensive front?
Well, one thing I will say, you can't see hardly anything on the sideline. I need to be up in the box with you guys.
It's a tough viewpoint for sure.
I know, right? But they did look pretty well. Like you said, Parker, I think left tackle, gave up 1 sack. But I just think the offense kind of just will help them out a little bit where they might lag. High tempo, the defensive guys got to get set up. Everything else is kind of pretty spread out with our receivers. So, I mean, it's going to help them out in the run game and just kind of pass blocking also. But, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do against Norfolk State. We'll see as the weeks go on. You're going to play some better D linemen, some guys that, have the potential to go to the NFL. So we'll see how we kind of measure up when we get that challenge.
It seemed like the one thing that was a little bit of a concern, I would say, on the O-line is the snaps from Dustin Hall. At times were a little bit off, and we saw that on the DeCirio. DeCirio hit it. After checking with some sources, it was just a bad snap, so they ended up obviously losing the fumble there near the goal line. So I know they're working hard on it. Dustin's a veteran player. This was his first game back at center since early last season, Maceo. But in the RPO game, like, those snaps need to be on the money so the quarterback can kind of read the defense as a snap. So how key is that to fix that going forward?
I mean, it's super important and essential. I mean, and not just RPO game. You need to have that on every single play because, frankly, the quarterback is thinking about a lot of other things besides the snap, which you got to protect the ball. The ball is a program. You hear that all the time. But the quarterback is looking at the linebackers, safeties, trying to figure out if we're going to keep it. If you're talking about an RPO, kind of reading the defense if it's just straight drop back. I mean, so the snaps kind of have to be perfect and get that rhythm with the quarterbacks. But I think probably only the past 2 weeks or so that the center and Jake have been getting those reps consistently. So now as the season will go on, they'll get those reps in practice. I'm sure they're drilling it all day, today and Sunday. So I think they'll get that rhythm together, but it's definitely important.
No doubt. Defensively, Maceo, the Pirates dominated the game. I mean, look, 6 extra possessions Norfolk State got due to turnovers, and they put up the 3 points, I think, off the initial interception, and that was it. So, I don't want to just glance over the defense because they kind of did what we thought they would do, but I thought they were even better than maybe we thought. So what were your big takeaways, if any, whether it be personnel or just the entirety of the defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think the replacement, I forgot his name, but number 5, who caught that pick six, I think that replacement in that nickel kind of safety position, losing Julius Wood and Tegan Wilk, I think that was very surprising to see, which is good for us. And also IBM, man. IBM was over there kind of locking up, making some plays too, and I think he was a guy that was I think he had a lot of reps last season, was kind of in and out. You knew Savone was there, but now you got IBM, and he's more of an undersized kind of corner. But he definitely made a lot of plays on Saturday, and I think we can be confident and maybe play a little bit more man coverage than we're used to.
Yeah, IBM, multiple pass breakups. We know Savone, however you say it, he can make plays as well. Special teams, Maceo, I know you had to be excited to see some big returns, man.
Yeah, man. Winston Wright was taking them back. I mean, that breaking kind of left return they were doing with Brock Spalding back there, and I think J. Pat was back there also blocking for him. So, I mean, that's all an effort thing, and you just have to have a want to do it. But like we said, it's Norfolk State. You're supposed to do that, and we're supposed to put on tape that, we're that kind of team that's attention to detail, and you just do your job. So it's a long season. Got to continue to do that. Got to keep executing.
All right, 42-3 win for ECU. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We will look ahead to ODU. We'll also get Maceo's thoughts on college football as a whole. What the heck is going on in Tallahassee with Florida State? And we'll look across some of the other Week 1 action. Maybe even talk some NFL with Maceo. Also, later in the program, we're scheduled to have the debut of Hoist the Colors intern Chance Scott. We'll try to introduce him on the program as well. So more with Maceo Donald after this break.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast, Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina, Southern Living's best small town.
Pirate game days, there's nothing like them. The atmosphere, first down, the tradition, the matchups, the magical finishes. Be a part of Pirate Game Days. Season tickets are as low as $115. Reserve your seat today to be a part of the experience of Pirate Game Days at Dottie Ficklin Stadium this fall.
This is about you.
Hoist the Colors here on this Tuesday, September 3rd. We got a lot going on in the studio. Mics, we're trying to figure out these mics today, but we've got to figure it out. The crew is figuring it out. All right, Maceo Donald is with us. Hoist the Colors Tuesday. We're recapping the 42-3 win over Norfolk State. Maceo, ODU, when I looked at this game going into the season, I figured ECU would be a slight favorite. They are. The betting line opened as ODU being favored. It's since moved in ECU's direction. I didn't expect the Monarchs to go to South Carolina and pretty much dominate the majority of the game and almost win. So how do you early look at ODU? What do you make of this game?
I mean, honestly, guys, I don't know. I mean, it's early in the season. I think just from experience, if you're kind of that mid-major program, you got a chance to play a big school like South Carolina or in our past, NC State we opened up with, or Carolina, you kind of bring everything to the table for those guys. You want to give it all. A lot of guys, it's a chance where you get to play in front of NFL scouts or really get the chance to be seen on the big stage. So I think that's kind of what happened in South Carolina last week. And South Carolina wasn't ready for those guys to come out and play. But it seemed like they could run the ball a lot. Their running back had a really great game. Passing game, I think they threw the ball around 30 times last week. So I think they're kind of a balanced offense similar to what, we like to do. So I think we could have our hands full, man. And going up and playing in their house is a great environment, great place to play. So we could have our hands full, man. But I think our defense will kind of be holding us back, holding us down this week.
So ODU in 19, you were on that team, right? Did you make the trip?
Yeah, that was my actually first travel trip with Coach Houston's staff, actually.
What do you remember about that game?
Navy. I remember Blake Kroll had like 2 catches for like 101 yards or 3 catches for like 101. I think it was a pretty close one also.
Yeah.
I think they had some pretty good DB. I mean, usually they get pretty good recruits around there. Have a lot of good DBs, a lot of good skilled players on offense as well. I think they had a great tight end. But that was a long time ago. I was so excited to be on the bus that year. I think the week before we played Navy, and I promised myself I was on the scout team offense. I promised myself I could never do that again. Be on the scout team, Navy running back getting hit all week on that all week through by our defensive players, man. So that's the biggest thing that stands out for me.
Yeah, that's not a fun thing for sure. Maceo O'Donnell with us. I remember. I think it was 24-21 the final. It was kind of an ugly game, but ECU ended up winning. I think that was Mike Houston's first FBS win as East Carolina's coach in his initial year with the team. Yes, yeah, good atmosphere and pretty good talent, as you said in the 757. They can usually pull some good talent there. Old Dominion, they run. So I watched a good amount of the game, Maceo. They run a very similar scheme to ECU now. A lot of RPOs with the wide splits at receiver, fast tempo. Now defensively, they run like a 3 safety look with 3 down linemen. Kind of a unique scheme. I don't know. Did you ever go against defenses that have that 3 safety look, kind of where they have the safety in the middle of the field? And if so, what challenges does that present?
I mean, they're just trying to keep – you play that kind of 3 high safety, you're just trying to keep everything as possible in front of you. Now, if you have a quarterback that can sling it and kind of hit the seams, you can kind of get him with some go routes, and a lot of times you can get him with some deep digs, maybe deep crosses, but they're really just trying to keep everything in front of you. Usually that's a sign that, we don't want to get beat deep. We want to try to keep everything in front of you and try to stop the run.
And then offensively, with them having a similar scheme, Maceo, the good news, I guess, from ECU's perspective is they've seen it a lot in practice. Now, I guess on the other side, ODU has also seen kind of some of the challenges ECU will present. Now, you'll still have some wrinkles. It's not the same exact scheme, but similar personalities, I would say. I guess that favors the defense on paper heading into this, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you get those reps pretty much all summer, all year. The challenge is for the defense is when you play with a team like Navy or Army or a team that just kind of does something pretty funky and just different. That's when you kind of have to, kind of re-get, taught the defense. What does this team like to do? So for the defense, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard this week. It's going to be kind of similar to what you're going to see for most of the season.
East Carolina and Old Dominion, 6 o'clock. That game will be this Saturday. All right, Maceo, what about college football as a whole? Did you get a chance to enjoy any of the games outside of just East Carolina? I mean, clearly you're working the game, a little busy like all of us, but did you get a chance to watch any action on Saturday?
Yeah, I got a good bit of the Georgia-Clemson game on Saturday at noon. Georgia, I think, is everything we all expected. Clemson, I think they might be in a little bit of trouble with their quarterback situation the last few years. And also last night, Florida State, I think the seat warmers are starting and just got cut on last night. I think we'll see. I don't know when the rankings come out, but I think they're probably going to be out of the top 25 this week. So, I mean, it's college football is back. You're having some upsets, having some exciting games. I think we have a big one this week, Texas and Michigan. So that could kind of be for some playoff seeding, and it could shake kind of everything up in college football also.
DJU, Florida State brought him back to the ACC after he struggled at Clemson. And, look, I'm not going to put it all on him, but they have now lost to Georgia Tech and Boston College. They're 0-2 in the ACC after week 1 of the college football season. I didn't even know that was possible. They face Memphis this coming weekend at home. Mike Norvell taking on his old team. That'll be interesting. Then they have Cal. Then they go to SMU. Then they have Clemson. They might – I don't know, Macy. I'm not going to say they're going to lose to Memphis, but Florida State, if they're not careful, they might not even make a bowl game at this rate.
Yeah, I mean – Memphis is no slouch. I mean, I think everyone kind of has them predicted as maybe possibly that group of 5 team that sneaks into the playoffs, along with like Liberty and App State. And then you got Cal. They'll probably win that game. And then you got Clemson. So it could get pretty ugly. I mean, Norvell could be out of here before week 6 if things don't go well. But I'm not a head coach and I'm not a recruiter or coordinator or anything, but I don't know if I would bring a quarterback who couldn't last in the ACC back to the ACC after being in the Pac-12. But it is what it is. Good luck to him, man.
The whole Clemson thing, Maceo, with obviously Dabo Swinney, he's gotten some criticism for not utilizing the transfer portal, and I would say at this point it's starting to be pretty valid that, look, I mean, recruiting high school and developing talent is always going to be the backbone of most programs, but you got to supplement with the portal. I'm sure they still have a great culture there. And look, Georgia is a different animal, but to lose 34-3, I don't know. Does Dabo have to reevaluate what he's doing, or is this just kind of is this who he's going to be? I don't know.
I mean, you definitely have to reevaluate, and it's a sandbox. Even if you don't like it, it's a sandbox that everyone in college football has to play in. But I mean, I understand Dabo's kind of reasoning, and you got to find a balance because you could look at Florida State, who has all these transfers from Alabama, SEC, Pac-12, and they're 0-2 to start the week against two unranked teams and conference opponents. So, I mean, there's a balance and kind of a mixed way you kind of do it to do it successfully. But I don't think overdoing it with, 60% turnover, I don't think that'll work. But maybe you find that 40% range of new talent on the team. I think that's something that could work. But, Dabo's just kind of got to move with the times. I used to think that he could have his job forever, but if he doesn't kind of change, I don't think he could.
USC takes on LSU in Vegas and wins a crazy game, 27-20. Miller Moss, kind of cool to see the quarterbacks there. They're both redshirt juniors. They both waited their time. Obviously, the LSU quarterback in the same boat as Miller Moss. Both of them played well. USC though, Lincoln Riley getting it done over the SEC, and I got to admit, Maceo, I had LSU in this game. I love Lincoln, got to know him well when he was at East Carolina, but he has struggled in some of these types of games. So the Trojans start the year with a big win. They take on Utah State, and then they go to Michigan after a bye week. So a big win for the Trojans. What'd you make of their start in the Big Ten?
Yeah, man, I loved Miller Moss, man. He was throwing some dots out there on Sunday. And if you look at that last throw he threw, it was kind of a cover two look and a whole shot. Like, you guys had to be the perfect time throw. He looked great out there. And I'm kind of curious if they can keep this up, man. I think they could be a sleeper for the college football playoffs because, the knock on USC and just Lincoln Riley teams is that they can score 50 points, but they'll give up 60. And they stopped the LSU team that, has big dudes up front. Wanted to run the ball. They were making a bunch of tackles, making a bunch of plays on defense. So if they can continue this, I know they got a big win in Michigan. I think they also play Penn State this year, UCLA, obviously. So if they can kind of keep it together, man, I think they could be a sleeper and kind of sneak into that 12-team playoffs.
The new DC already making an impact there in Trojan land for sure as USC beats LSU. All right, Maceo, the NFL kicks off on Thursday night. The Baltimore Ravens take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Then Friday you have Green Bay and Philly. I don't know. Do you have a favorite NFL team? What's your take on the league, my friend?
Well, before I tell you who my favorite team is, I'll give you my reason behind that. So my team I usually cheer for is the Chiefs, and I don't know if Philip's looking. I don't know what his face looks like right now. But I'm not a bandwagon fan. I actually started liking them when Anthony Thomas out of Oregon was there. And then Tyreek Hill kind of came there. It was kind of my guys, short speed guys. So I usually cheer for the Chiefs. And I think I'm really this year just excited to see the possibility of history being made by the Chiefs, winning 3 straight Super Bowls. Something for me that's been big is just kind of seeing greatness from start to finish. My generation, I think Brady won in like 2000, 2001. I was 1 year old. Also, LeBron James, he started winning, was really good. He came into the NBA at 03. So you kind of see the middle to back end of those kind of careers. But Mahomes, we've seen this from the beginning to the end. So I think for me, that's what I'm most excited to see. But you gotta be scared of Lamar. You got to be scared of Josh Allen. You got to be scared of Brock Purdy and the 49ers. So I think it'll be a great season this year.
With DeAnthony Thomas and Tyreek Hill, it's clear that Maceo just likes guys who are slightly faster than him. It's tough to be faster than Maceo, but it's guys that he inspires to be. So I respect how he chooses his teams.
Yeah.
He does it off guys he inspires to be. So I like it.
I gotta say,
Thank you,
Maceo, it's it's absolutely disgusting as a Denver Broncos fan that you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I might have to ban you from talking NFL on the show. I think it's like 8 straight division titles for the Chiefs. And look, Denver had their run with Peyton and obviously Elway before that. But it's tough going into every season now knowing that Mahomes is their daddy.
Well, Bo Nix has been look pretty good in preseason, man. You guys might have one there, so it's looking up for you guys.
Hey, we'll take a wild card spot. Just get me back to the playoffs, man. I'll be happy. Any other, I don't know, sleeper teams? I know you mentioned the Niners. Obviously, going into the season, they have high hopes. Any teams of intrigue that you're just looking forward to across the league, Maceo, going into the NFL season?
Well, definitely C.J. Stroud. Had a great rookie year last year. Has Tank Dell from Houston, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs over there. So they got a talented offensive group with a talented quarterback. Also, this Jordan Love hype. I hope he lives up to this $200 and whatever $1 million they gave him. The highest contract ever. But they also look great. I don't think those are really sleepers, but I think those are some young bulls that really got a chance to make their mark in the league.
All right. Have you heard anything from Keaton Mitchell? I know he's obviously starting the year on the PUP list, but any idea if he'll be able to come back midseason?
Yeah, I think I was reading something last week. I think they're hoping to get him back, December, possibly November. But yeah, I talked to Keaton last week, just rehabbing, and I was like, I texted him. I was like, well, you must be happy camp's over. He was like, well, I wasn't doing anything anyway. I was just rehabbing and stuff. So, Keaton's a good kid. He's always humble, always in a positive mood. Obviously, an injury like he has is, can be tough. But I think he just is focused right now on getting back on the field. And when they do get him back, I think that backfield with Lamar, Derrick Henry, and Keaton is going to be kind of crazy, man.
That's not fun to stop for sure. And then how about Julius Wood, man? You kind of gave the hint he was going to re-sign with the Cowboys practice squad. That was their intention. And then, of course, the Titans swooped in and signed him before that happened. He makes the 53-man roster there as a result. So that's big time. I know he's probably catching up with everything, so he may not be activated the first few weeks. But that had to be pretty exciting for Juju.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I haven't talked to Juju, but, I mean, that's always exciting when you see some guys you played with and they get those opportunities in the league, man. And I went against Julius a lot just because positions, slot receiver, and, he played safety. So just one-on-ones, things like that. But Julius, he's one of those guys, you let him in the door, he might not ever, get back out. So, I mean, Julius is one of those type of guys, and he's going to be making some good cheese on that active roster this year.
No doubt. Excited for Julius and all the former Pirates in the league. Well, Maceo, we'll get you out of here, man. Appreciate the time. As always, glad we could get you back on video this week. We'll see you shortly. So you'll be on the sideline for the App State game again. You'll be watching, spectating from home this time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be at App in 2 weeks. And then we'll see from there, man. Hopefully we get a dub this week.
Awesome, man. Hopefully the Pirates come back 2-0. But great stuff, Maceo, and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk to you next week, my man.
Yeah, talk to you guys. Philip, good luck this week. Carolina, man. Sorry.
I appreciate it. We're going to need it.
I love that you apologize in advance because they're going to need it. All right, he is Maceo Donald. All right, on the other side, we're going to introduce one of the new members of the Hoist the Colors family. He's in studio. He's Chance Scott. We'll tell you all about him, new intern with Hoist the Colors. He'll join us. He'll make his live radio debut after this.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Hey Glenn, let's talk about a new program at Greenville Nissan.
Sure, sometimes bad things happen to good people, like credit hiccups.
Greenville Nissan just rolled out credit forgiveness.
If you've been making consistent car payments and you're tired of that high interest rate, this program is for you.
Test. New Nissan with a manageable payment and keep that cash in the bank.
Come visit us at Greenville Nissan and drive your Nissan home today.
Hurry, this program ends September 3rd. Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
ECU Athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, Tuesday, September 3rd. We've had some mic issues, but I think we got them all ironed out thanks to the IBX media team. Philip's been running around with his head cut off. Philip Pilkington behind the glass. Philip, you hanging in there, man?
Yeah, it's been rough. We've had some tech issues with the mic, some other tech issues back here with stuff not doing right, and we're past halfway through the show. I'm just ready for it to be over, honestly.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, hey, let's introduce a new guest. He is Chance Scott. Chance is a new intern with Hoist the Colors, also a senior at East Carolina. Chance, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so you're a big fan of the show. Obviously, so you told me you listen on the podcast. And I don't know, have you ever done anything like this before? How nervous are you?
My nerves are there. We've done a couple of live shows at where I work at now, News Sports. So I'm kind of there a little bit, but my nerves are still kind of kicked up.
Can't be anything compared to the fact that you just got married recently.
Yeah, the wedding was. My nerves are terrible.
Yeah, my wedding day, man. That's the most nervous I've ever been. Is just, and you don't think you're going to be that nervous, but then the day comes and it just hits you. So first off, congrats on that. Tell us about the fact you got married, but you did it. We were talking earlier. We were at the press conference with the players. You did it before football season really got going, though. So you had kind of a fall wedding, although late summer wedding, but you didn't let it take up an ECU game day.
Yeah, we both knew that there was no way I was going to be focused at a wedding if ECU football was on. So she was lucky enough. She got me an early wedding, go with me. Got back on Friday at the game Saturday, so it was pretty great. Chance
Scott with this new Hoist the Colors intern. So we have an army of interns this year. And, we used to have Case and Rameli on this show a lot. Philip, I think he became a fan favorite. So big shoes to fill, but hey, we're getting y'all on. We're going to introduce y'all. We'll incorporate you in the show. Obviously, you've already done a few articles on Hoist the Colors. So tell us about your background. Part of the reason I'll say, Chance, as we were going through the internship process, you have some writing experience. You mentioned the News sports department you work with. So tell us about your background, what interested you in working with Hoist the Colors.
I'm a really big sports guy. I grew up an ECU fan my whole life. My dad got me on this pirate train, and I haven't fell off since. I don't know how, but I love East Carolina, and my uncle works over there at News. He got me in about 3 years ago now. So I've been writing articles about 3 years, and I seen you had Kason on last year. I met him at the Virginia Regional, and he was telling about hit up Igo internship. And I seen you posted it, and I was like, I've got to find my way up there.
So News sports, what are you covering?
I do a lot of high school stuff, so it's Jones, Lenoir County, Greene County, like Greene Central, North Lenoir, South Lenoir, Jones, Kinston. Every sport. We cover, volleyball, baseball, basketball, golf, track, whatever we can find something to write on, we'll write it. We're all about getting the high school kids in an article, something a lot of newspapers don't do much anymore.
Yeah, so, the local coverage, and I think that's part of why 94 Through the Game, Hoist the Colors has been so successful is because, you can turn on ESPN, you can get the latest LeBron take, the latest, who's going to be the next breakout quarterback. Is Patrick Mahomes the greatest of all time? Is he better than Brady? But, localized sports coverage, it's just hard to come by. So there's value there, Chance. So have you done much Kinston basketball? Because obviously they're kind of known for producing some stars. I don't know how they've been the last few years.
I've done two games at Kinston. Most time when I see Kinston, it's usually at Greene Central, at North Lenoir. I do a lot of the North Lenoir games. My uncle's the big boss around, so he gets all the Kinston, Greene Central games. But all the time,
you gotta tell him to share some with you, man.
Yeah, man. But I kind of like the smaller games. Where there's not that many people. You really can find a play you can write about. And when there's a lot of people going on, a lot of action, it's hard to find a play and stick with it.
So you're wearing a Ross Chastain hat. Are you a big watermelon guy fan? What's his actual nickname? Philip, you're the NASCAR guy.
The Watermelon Man.
The Watermelon Man. Are you a fan of Ross Chastain?
I mean, I guess.
Or is it just the fact that he's a watermelon?
Yeah, it's just a watermelon. When I started watching NASCAR game probably about a year ago, and he's pretty easy to click on too.
Kaysen was a watermelon guy, so I guess you're following in his footsteps as well. So, Philip, just coming off a race, have you been to any races this year?
We went to both the Richmond races. So
Okay.
I've been to 2. I want to go to Darlington. Excuse me. I want to go to Darlington, but it was my friend's dad's birthday, so we couldn't make it out. Still a great race to watch on TV, though.
Chance Scott with us, new Hoist the Colors intern. We're introducing him on the show. We're going to have him be a part of the program. What did you make of the Pirates' season opening win, 42-3 over Norfolk State?
It was great to finally see a win at Dowdy, especially to be a home opener, the first game of the year to get a win. I think I was 14 last time we won, and a season
crazy.
opener. So it's been a long time coming, and it felt great, man. I can't even lie.
What did you think of the new offense?
I think it's great. I love the RPO and the tempo. I think the RPO is really going to help, maybe with the O-line not being exactly quite where we might want it to be. But we still got some great reads. I like that we kept everything vanilla. We ran a lot of simple routes. The RPO was the bread and butter, and I hope we run up to the Old Dominion and open the playbook.
Chance Scott is with us. All right, so Bobby Harward, who is our usual Friday guest, been with the show since we got started. He was an assistant under Ruff McNeil. He says, welcome, Chance, to the show. He does add, we need Javon Cole on to next to answer for his Norfolk State prediction. So, Javon Cole is also a new Hoist the Colors intern. We had our predictions out. He had Norfolk State winning 27-24. He got flack from that on Hoist the Colors, of course, and somebody called him out on Twitter. So what are we going to do to Javon for that pick? I don't know.
Somebody had to be the villain, so I'm glad it didn't have to be me, not early at least. Javon, we got to make some better picks there, though.
Your villain time's coming. Just wait, Chance. Look, Kaysen was a built-in villain. He grew up an NC State fan.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, but, hey, we converted him. I don't know who Javon's a fan of. Apparently not ECU football if he's picking Norfolk State, but we'll have to figure out something. But
maybe he's just scarred. I mean, I picked ECU, but, I was scarred. You got to think what happened my freshman and sophomore year. First game ever, Mike Houston comes in here and wins, and then we lose to A&T on a Sunday. So maybe he's scarred. Maybe
that's the last
all it
game
is.
my dad's been to.
Really? The A&T game?
The JMU game.
Oh, the JMU game.
So
He hasn't been to a game since 2017.
Yep.
Wow.
That's been the last time we went to a game together. So he's coming to App game, so we need a better result.
So
oh, goodness, we're going to lose your dad's bad luck. Dang it.
Was he just done after JMU? He was just like, I'm out?
He really don't go to a lot of games. He got injured 4 or 5 years ago, so he's kind of getting back to the groove. He's back to where exactly my dad used to be. So him getting him out to a tailgate this year, we're going to go to a game, then family day. It's going to be great to have him at 2 games with me.
That'll be awesome, man. Chance Scott is with us here in studio. All right, so I got to ask, so how old are you? 21? 22?
22.
22. So it's tough for me to, I'm only 32. I guess I am old. But, I at least got to see some good years for sure for ECU football. What about you? What do you remember as, the height of ECU football at your age?
It was really middle school era, with Shane Carden, Lincoln Riley, obviously that's how high. But I remember always growing up, always hearing about, Dominique Davis and the guys like that kind of really got this program kind of back to what my dad seen growing up and what his dad seen. The great 90s when we were good and winning Peach Bowl, and something I wish I could go back and see.
How often do you hear about the Peach Bowl? Because, look, I'm 10 years older than you. I hear about the Peach Bowl, heard about it my whole life. I was born in 92, right after the Peach Bowl. So what about you?
I don't really hear about it a lot. I really go back and watch it more myself because it's something I never got to experience, and there's a lot of games I wish I could have seen, back then.
And the Pirates used to beat up on a lot of big-name teams, so to speak, and something that ECU fans definitely still relish and want to see more of to this day. All right, I'll tell you what, let's get a break in. We'll come back more with Chance, and we'll talk with Philip. Maybe we'll get Nick on the mic as well. We'll go ahead and introduce everybody. I don't know. We'll see what we can cook up during the break, as Nick is the younger brother of Joey Football, Joseph Sampson. We might as well introduce as many of the cast and characters as we can here on today's program. This is Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday, recapping the win over Norfolk State, looking ahead to ODU. We will be right back.
We're down to the final days of our summer sales event at Greenville Toyota.
Lease new RAV4s, $319 a month. Test drive the redesigned 2025 Camry.
all with our advantage. It's your last chance to save at Greenville Toyota.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Football time! Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job. Woo! Yeah!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Summer is here, and Sawyer's Fun Park is having a toddler summer special. From 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday, Sawyer's has a $10 2-hour unlimited pass for ages 2 to 4. That's one toddler and one parent for just $10 every weekday morning. Sawyer's Fun Park summer hours are Monday through Thursday from 10 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays from 10 to 9, and Sundays from 12 to 8. Book your tickets online at SawyersFunPark.com and beat the heat this summer at Sawyer's Fun Park.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks. Fresh.
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment here, Hoist the Colors, Tuesday, September 3rd. Chance Scott is in studio. He is the new Hoist the Colors intern, one of many. You'll have, I'll tell you what, now that you're on the show, Chance, we'll get you in every now and then. Maybe Tuesdays, we'll have you be a part of the show. Philip Pilkington is producing, and he's got a assistant producer today as well. We have intern Nick, who is part of the family as well here at 94.3 The Game, part of the IBX Media family. He is the younger brother of Joey Football. Nick, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. It's awesome to be on. It's very nice to be in talking sports.
So can you talk as much as Joey Football?
I can. I'm not as in tuned as Joe is. He likes to talk, I will say.
Yeah.
I do like the more analytical side than the play-by-play part of it. So definitely more in tune with the stats and stuff of football and sports in general.
So you're going to be our stats guy? Is that what you're telling me?
I can be a stats guy. I mean, I'm used to more of the stats side than like when Joe talks. He talks more of the X's and O's, but I'm definitely more on the numbers and what comes in tune with that.
All right. So how much younger are you than Joey?
I am 3 years younger than Joe. I'm 19, starting my sophomore year.
Okay.
Joe just finished up his senior year in grad school. Yeah.
Are you an unfortunate Jets fan as well?
I am not an unfortunate Jets fan like everyone in the house is. I am a Steelers fan, so I don't know how much better this year in general it has been with that quarterback situation this year. I'm looking forward to that.
Russell Wilson, as a Broncos fan, I can tell you it's going to be interesting, if nothing else. It may not be good. It may be fun sometimes when he's running around doing his thing. So are you excited about Russell Wilson, or are you more excited about Justin Fields eventually getting his shot?
I'd say I'm more excited for Justin Fields. I think Russell Wilson's going to obviously start the year, and we'll see the more controlled offense from him, especially with Arthur Smith now. But I think eventually you're going to need a spark, and you're going to go to Justin Fields. You'll get a good run, be the 6th seed, travel in a playoff game, and lose. And it doesn't matter who's in. Playing quarterback, that is what's going to happen. And at the end of the year, we'll say, wow, good season by Mike Tomlin. We'll move on, and nothing will happen next year.
That's pretty much been the Steelers in a nutshell for a good while now. But, hey, there's worse places to be. Like the man sitting to your right, Philip Pilkington, is a Panthers fan, and I think that's pretty tough. Chance, are you a Panthers fan?
I'm sadly a Panthers fan.
That's tough. What's the Panthers over-under this year for wins? Do we know in Vegas?
I am not sure.
Too many.
Too many? Are you taking the under?
I'm not touching nothing on that team.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. with the NFL. I'm very non-optimistic, pessimistic would be the word, about the Denver Broncos this year. But I have some hopes for Bo Nix. I have very little hopes for actual wins. All right, so Nick, going back to you, did you see Joey Football do his thing and you were just like, man, I got to be a part of this thing too. It's just too good to not give it a shot.
Yeah, part of it was that I've always loved talking sports just like he does. So this has been a constant for me, this type of show, and this would be our dinner table for 15 years basically. Anytime sports was on, especially during the season, we'd all talk each of our positions in that sport. College football, NFL football, and even when we were playing, the college teams, high school teams, it was constant. So I was always used to this talking and hearing from other people and just having those conversations.
What did you think from your vantage point of East Carolina's opener? Did you get good vibes?
Yes, very good vibes. Much better than last year. Tight end touchdown to start the year, which I feel like I've never seen ever, especially last year. I think a lot of flaws, especially the turnovers. You should be able to go out against an FCS team and dominate, and I think they did at times, but part of it, you had the turnovers, you had some sloppy plays. I think you'll definitely see that ironed out this week and this Saturday, but they need to come out firing and ready to go and prove that they belong in the AAC and make a run this season.
All right, last thing for you, Nick, and then I'll give the controls back to Philip behind the glass. So my brother's 3 years older than me. I got beat up quite a bit growing up, I'm not going to lie. But by the time we were a little bit older, I could give it back some too. So how many, I don't know, brawls did y'all have or just football games where y'all were knocking the snot out of each other growing up?
Definitely enough to remember them. I will say my oldest brother always kept me in check and Joe in check, so when we'd go at it, he'd always be there to break it up. But yeah, we got in plenty of brawls, and I'm sure Joe will mention that. Now we're somewhat the same size, so he doesn't pick on me as much, but
yeah,
I can get him back now.
That's usually how it goes. Well, yeah. Nick, hey, great to welcome you on the show, and I
got a Panthers over/under, or the win total this year. It's 5.5.
5.5. I think I'm taking the under. I don't know, Chance. What about you?
6 wins. See, this is where they get me right here.
Vegas knows, man. Vegas knows what they're doing. Well, Nick, hey, we'll get you back on part of the show. Looking forward to having you. We got to come up with an official nickname because I am not cool with Nicky Football. I don't think you are either. So we'll come up with something better than Nick, but also better than Nicky Football. But good to meet you, man. All right, back here. Got a few minutes left with Chance Scott, new Hoist the Colors intern. It is we're introducing people this on this Tuesday. What do you think about ODU, man? This is a game that I have ECU winning. I think I've watched a good amount of film of the South Carolina game, and Kenny Curlins says on YouTube, watch their game. South Carolina has a weak team. Passing game was non-existent. ODU had two big plays. That was it. I will say ODU, Chance, they rank, I think, second nationally in explosive plays at the start of last year. So that's something ECU has got to keep a handle on defensively. But ODU looked good defensively. Offensively, I wasn't super impressed. What do you make of this game as we get closer to kickoff?
I have it as a win. I think the Pirates go in there and win by 10 with a late field goal to push it to 2 possessions. What I really like is having Blake Carroll as my defensive coordinator, and that experienced front seven. That entire D line is old. They've been there. They've done that. And now with Zakiah Barker at your Mike and Edwards at your Will.
Yep.
That front seven is entirely too good, and you got a great lockdown corner, Savone Rebel.
Yeah.
Savone's a lockdown, and we've seen guys like G5 go out there and make a play pick six in the first game. It don't matter who you play, a pick six is impressive. Too many guys on that defense, and I don't think we give up too many points. We didn't show a lot on the offense, which I think is going to be helpful going in there. We can open up the playbook. We showed enough where they got a bite down on Anthony Smith on that flat route, and we just taped the top off with it. I think we're going there and make some noise.
I do think ECU's in a good spot. They were able to put enough on film for ODU to prepare for, but also the Monarchs I don't think have seen all of what JDB has to offer, although the offenses are similar, so they'll have some familiarity with the concepts. You expecting a big contingent of purple and gold? I know you're going, right?
Yeah, me, my wife, and Buddy and his girlfriend were going, and I expect the place to be full of purple.
I think so. SB Ballard Stadium, we were up there. 19 it was. Yeah, we were talking to Maceo about it. And ECU had a lot of fans. Pretty nice stadium. Will this be your first time there?
It will be my first time there.
So it's good for what it is. Old Dominion has a solid fan base, but nothing crazy. So I think you'll see a lot of ECU fans. Well, Chance, we're about out of time here, but good to meet you on the show. Obviously, I've met you in real life, but hopefully the people enjoyed it as well. Also introducing Nick. We'll have to get you back on, man. But we'll keep seeing you around. You were at the press conferences today, tweeting from the Hoisted Colors account, so you'll be a part of this thing rolling forward. So thanks for hopping on, man.
Yeah, thank you, Igo. It's a big opportunity for me.
No doubt. Chance Scott, again, follow him on Twitter. He's writing some stuff for us on Hoisted Colors as well, at Chance_Scott10. You can follow him there. He's got your coverage for the News Sports as well as Hoisted Colors. We'll continue to get the guys on the show. We'll have Nick be a part of the program. We'll also get Javon at some point on the hot seat to answer for his prediction if you're following that on Hoisted Colors. But thanks again to Maceo Donald, always a great guest. Tomorrow we will have Kevin Monroe. We'll be live streaming early because we've got coordinator press conferences, and then we'll be on the radio at our usual 12 noon slot, but we'll be live streaming over social media early. We'll have Kevin Monroe, who is the color analyst on the ECU Sports Network, former ECU defensive back. Thanks to Chance, Phillip, Maceo, and Nick. I'm Stephen Igo. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 noon.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more of Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.